Bone broth for muscle building? It scores a 0. Not kind of weak, a literal, scientifically measured 0 for muscle protein synthesis. Health influencers pushed it as the magic elixir for aging muscles. Your neighbor's been simmering bones for hours. Meanwhile, you're probably spending $40 on collagen peptides. But when it comes to rebuilding muscle after 60, bone broth is biochemically incapable of doing the job. The science behind it is completely backwards. I'm about to show you which foods actually work, and some of them will surprise you. Let's get into it. When you're over 60, you're fighting sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss. This isn't about looking less toned. We're talking about your ability to climb stairs, carry groceries, maintain independence. Sarcopenia increases your risk of falls, hospitalization, and mortality. So when someone tells you bone broth rebuilds muscle, the science better back it up. It doesn't. There's a metric called the DIAAS score, digestible indispensable amino acid score. It measures how well a protein meets your body's amino acid requirements for growth and repair. Whey protein scores 1.09 to 1.18. Casein from cottage cheese hits about 1.18. Bone broth and collagen peptides, 0. A literal DIAAS score of 0. Bone broth fails for two interconnected reasons. First, it's missing tryptophan entirely, a critical essential amino acid your body cannot make on its own. Without tryptophan, muscle protein synthesis stalls completely. It's like trying to bake bread without flour. You can have every other ingredient, but you're not making bread. But even if collagen had tryptophan, it would still fail because it lacks sufficient leucine, the ignition switch for muscle building. Leucine delivers 2 to 3 grams of leucine per 20 gram serving. Bone broth, maybe 0.5 to 1 gram. You're missing both the foundation and the trigger. Bottom line, bone broth provides amino acids that support connective tissue, skin, joints, tendons, but it's biochemically incapable of rebuilding skeletal muscle. You're drinking it for the wrong reason. If you want joint support, fine, but for muscle, you're wasting your time and money. Before I show you what actually works, you need to understand why your body's making this so difficult in the first place. When you were 30, your muscles were eager. You'd eat a chicken breast and boom, muscle protein synthesis kicked in. Your body efficiently used that protein to repair and build muscle. Fast forward to 60, and those same muscles have become incredibly stubborn. This is called anabolic resistance, and it's why seniors lose muscle even when they think they're eating enough protein. After 60, your muscles require nearly double the protein per meal to get the same response. Specifically, you need approximately 0.4 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per meal just to maximize muscle protein synthesis. Younger adults, about 0.25 grams per kilogram. That's a massive difference.
But here's the critical piece. Your muscles don't respond proportionally to protein. They respond like a light switch, not a dimmer. Eat 15 grams of protein, minimal muscle protein synthesis. Eat 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein, that switch flips. Synthesis spikes. Eat 50 grams in one sitting, you don't get double the benefit. Your body just oxidizes the excess. For someone weighing 70 kilograms, about 154 pounds, you need roughly 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein per meal to flip that switch. Most people eat like this: small breakfast with 10 grams protein, moderate lunch with 15 grams, huge dinner with 50 grams. That's roughly 75 grams total. But you've only triggered maximal muscle protein synthesis once, at dinner. Smart strategy? Distribute that protein evenly. 25 grams at breakfast, 30 at lunch, 25 at dinner. Same total, but now you've maximized muscle protein synthesis 3 times. Your muscles got 3 opportunities to build instead of 1. See the difference? But this only works if you're eating the right proteins. Let me show you what actually deserves a place on your plate. I know what you're thinking, but I heard dairy is inflammatory, or isn't dairy bad for aging? Let me be clear. When it comes to pure muscle-building efficacy, dairy proteins are undefeated. The research on muscle protein synthesis is crystal clear. We can have separate conversations about lactose intolerance, but science doesn't lie about effectiveness. If you ignore dairy just because someone on the internet said it's evil, you're cutting out one of the most effective muscle-building food categories available. That's not smart. That's leaving gains on the table. Whey is the protein fraction from milk, and 3 factors make it dominate. First, it digests fast. Within 30 to 60 minutes, those amino acids flood your bloodstream, perfect for post-exercise recovery or anytime you need quick protein delivery. Second, it's loaded with leucine, about 2.5 grams per 20 gram serving. That's enough to flip the muscle-building switch hard. Third, complete essential amino acid profile. Every amino acid your muscles need is present in optimal ratios. That DIAAS score of 1.09 to 1.18 means whey over-delivers on your body's requirements. If you struggle to eat solid food in the morning, or your appetite's shot after illness, whey protein powder mixed into a shake gives you 20 to 25 grams of high-quality protein in a form that's easy to get down. Add a banana, some peanut butter, maybe oats. Now you've got a complete meal hitting your protein threshold without forcing yourself to chew through a steak at 7 a.m. Quick note, fortified soy milk alternatives work too if cow's milk isn't your thing. Look for added calcium and vitamin D. Not quite the same amino acid profile, but still effective. Most people sleep 7 to 8 hours without eating. During that time, muscle protein breakdown continues. If you don't give your body amino acids during this period, you're losing muscle overnight. That's 8 hours of muscle wasting every single night, unless you do something about it. Casein digests slowly, 6 to 7 hours for full absorption. While whey gives you that fast spike, casein provides a slow, steady amino acid release. It's like an IV drip of muscle-building material while you sleep. A serving of cottage cheese before bed, full fat, don't bother with low fat, provides about 25 to 30 grams of casein protein. That protein slowly releases amino acids throughout the night, minimizing muscle breakdown and maximizing overnight muscle protein synthesis. Experts literally call cottage cheese the nighttime muscle builder. Studies show pre-sleep protein feeding improves 24-hour muscle protein synthesis rates in older adults. Here's your simple strategy. Mix half a cup of full-fat cottage cheese with some berries or sliced peaches. Eat it 30 minutes before bed. That's it. You've just turned your sleep into an anabolic opportunity instead of a catabolic drain.
Greek yogurt works similarly. High in casein plus probiotics for gut health. Just check the label for at least 15 to 20 grams of protein per serving. If you're truly lactose intolerant, lactose-free milk and yogurt exist, and whey protein isolate has most lactose removed. But if you just think you're sensitive because someone on the internet said so, test that assumption with your doctor before cutting out these muscle-building champions.
Dairy's incredible, but let me show you the whole food that serves as the reference standard against which all other proteins are measured. Eggs have the highest protein digestibility corrected amino acid score of any food, basically a perfect 1.0. Your body absorbs and utilizes egg protein with incredible efficiency. The amino acid profile is so well balanced that eggs are literally the reference standard against which other proteins are measured. When scientists evaluate a new protein source, they compare it to eggs. One large egg gives you about 6 grams of protein, plus healthy fats, vitamins D and B12, choline, and selenium. 2 or 3 eggs at breakfast gets you 12 to 18 grams. Not quite at that 25-gram threshold, but close enough that adding whole grain toast with peanut butter gets you there. What makes eggs especially great
highlight for seniors is their soft food friendliness. Scrambled, hard-boiled, poached, they're all easy to chew and digest. If you've got dental issues or swallowing difficulties, eggs are one of the few high-protein options that don't require gnawing through tough meat. 3 scrambled eggs with a slice of whole grain toast and peanut butter hits your breakfast protein threshold easily. And despite what you've heard about cholesterol, recent research shows dietary cholesterol has minimal impact on blood cholesterol for most people. For the average person, eating 2 to 3 eggs daily is perfectly safe and beneficial. Fish does something clever. It packages muscle-building protein with the anti-inflammatory omega-3s most seniors desperately need. Fish gives you complete protein, but it also delivers omega-3 fatty acids. These reduce inflammation, support heart health, and may improve muscle protein synthesis signaling. You're getting muscle-building protein and anti-inflammatory compounds in one food. That's efficiency. A single can of sardines and water or olive oil gives you 20 to 25 grams of protein. But here's the kicker. You're eating the bones, which means absorbable calcium. For seniors worried about bone density and muscle mass simultaneously, sardines are like hitting 2 targets with one shot. Fish is similar. Canned tuna in water is lean, affordable, and packs about 20 to 25 grams of protein per can. Mix tuna with cottage cheese instead of mayo. Now you're stacking casein and fish protein. Add a hard-boiled egg, and you've got a power lunch that easily hits 35 to 40 grams of protein. One note on mercury. If you're concerned, stick to smaller fish like sardines, anchovies, or light tuna. They accumulate less mercury than larger predatory fish. Beef delivers what bone broth only pretends to. Both the muscle-building amino acids collagen lacks and the connective tissue support collagen provides. Beef gets a bad rap in longevity circles, and we'll address that tension shortly. But from a pure muscle-building standpoint, beef is exceptional. It's one of the few foods that gives you both muscle-building leucine and tryptophan, plus the connective tissue amino acids glycine and proline. It's the best of both worlds. A 4-ounce serving of lean beef gives you roughly 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein with a complete essential amino acid profile. But here's the bonus. Beef naturally contains glycine and proline, 2 amino acids abundant in collagen. You're getting the muscle-building amino acids collagen lacks and the connective tissue amino acids collagen provides. One food source, not 2 separate products. Beef also supplies creatine, iron, zinc, and B vitamins, all nutrients that support muscle function and recovery. Fair warning, if your doctor told you to limit red meat due to heart disease, listen to them. But for most healthy seniors, moderate beef consumption, say 2 to 3 times per week, is perfectly reasonable and beneficial for muscle maintenance. Think of it this way. You're getting joint support and muscle building from one food source, not 2 separate products. If you don't eat animal products, here's your strategic playbook for building muscle on plants. Here's the reality. Plant proteins are generally less bioavailable than animal proteins. They often lack 1 or more essential amino acids, and they typically have lower leucine content. That's not bias, that's biochemistry. But that doesn't mean plant-based seniors can't build muscle. It just means you've got to be strategic about it. If you've studied longevity, you know about blue zones, regions where people routinely live past 100. One common thread? They eat legumes daily. Beans, lentils, chickpeas, consumed every single day in places like Okinawa, Sardinia, and Ikaria. A cup of cooked lentils gives you about 18 grams of protein, plus fiber, iron, and folate. Here's the catch. Lentils are low in methionine, an essential amino acid, while grains are low in lysine. But when you combine them, beans and rice, lentils and bread, you get a complete amino acid profile. This is called amino acid complementation, and it's how vegetarian populations have successfully maintained muscle for generations. The key is eating combinations throughout the day. You don't have to combine them in the same meal, but you need both within 24 hours. Practical problem for seniors: legumes can cause gas and bloating. My advice: start small. A quarter cup of lentils in soup. Gradually increase. Your gut bacteria will adapt and symptoms typically decrease. Also, pureed lentil soups or mashed chickpeas, hummus, are easier to digest and work well if you've got chewing difficulties. Most plant proteins fall short of animal proteins in quality, but fortified soy milk is one of the few that comes close. It's a complete protein with a decent DIAAS score, and when fortified, it provides calcium and vitamin D comparable to dairy milk. Tofu, tempeh, edamame, all solid sources. A cup of cooked edamame gives you about 17 grams of protein. Firm tofu has roughly 10 grams per half cup. Soy's been shown to support muscle maintenance in older adults when consumed consistently. One myth to kill: no, soy won't give men man boobs or mess with testosterone. That's based on misunderstanding how phytoestrogens work. Multiple studies confirm soy is safe for men. Swap regular milk for fortified soy milk in your morning protein shake. Add tofu to stir fries. Snack on edamame. You're getting complete protein without animal products. For seniors with declining appetite or unintentional weight loss, the biggest problem isn't protein quality, it's total calorie intake. If you're not eating enough calories overall, your body will break down muscle for energy no matter how much protein you eat. This is where calorie-dense foods become critical. 2 tablespoons of natural peanut butter gives you 8 grams of protein, 16 grams of healthy fat, and about 190 calories. For someone struggling to maintain weight, peanut butter bridges the calorie gap that's causing muscle loss. Same goes for nuts and seeds. Almonds, walnuts, sunflower seeds. They're not high protein per se, but they're nutrient dense and help ensure adequate energy intake. Add peanut butter to oatmeal. Spread it on whole grain bread. Eat it by the spoonful if you need to. These pack maximum nutrition into smaller volumes when eating feels like a chore. You could eat perfect protein at every meal and still fail to build muscle if you ignore timing and dosing. Let me show you why distribution matters more than you'd think. Most people get the total right, but the timing wrong. And timing matters more than you'd think. Eating 80 grams of protein at dinner doesn't produce the same muscle-building response as spreading those same 80 grams across 3 meals. Your muscles can only process so much at once. Feed them correctly throughout the day, and you triple your muscle-building opportunities from that same amount of protein. The standard recommended dietary allowance for protein is 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight per day. That's fine if your only goal is avoiding protein deficiency, but if your goal is maintaining or rebuilding muscle after 60, that number's woefully inadequate. Current consensus, including the BROTH age study group, recommends 1.2 to 1.5 grams per kilogram per day for healthy older adults. If you're dealing with illness, recovering from surgery, or doing serious resistance training, you might need 1.5 to 2 grams per kilogram. If you weigh 70 kilograms, 154 pounds, you're looking at 84 to 105 grams of protein per day on the low end. That's substantially more than the old RDA of 56 grams. About 1/3 of adults over 50 don't even meet the outdated RDA, let alone the higher targets. If you've been wondering why you're losing muscle despite eating enough protein, this might be why. Remember anabolic resistance? Your muscles need roughly 25 to 40 grams of protein per meal to maximally stimulate muscle protein synthesis. Eating 80 grams all at dinner doesn't give you the same result as spreading it across 3 meals. Think of it like medication dosing. If your doctor prescribes an antibiotic 3 times daily, you don't take all 3 pills at once. Same principle. You're maintaining elevated muscle protein synthesis throughout the day. Breakfast, 25 to 30 grams. 2 eggs with whole grain toast and peanut butter. Or whey shake with oats and banana. Lunch, 30 to 35 grams. Can of tuna with cottage cheese and hard-boiled egg. Or chicken breast with quinoa. Dinner, 25 to 30 grams. Grilled salmon with lentils. Lean beef with vegetables and sweet potato. Pre-sleep, 20 to 25 grams slow-digesting protein. Half-cup cottage cheese. Or casein shake. That's 100 to 120 grams total, distributed to maximize muscle protein synthesis 4 times in 24 hours. This isn't bodybuilder territory. This is evidence-based geriatric nutrition. Most seniors go to bed around 10 p.m. and don't eat until 7 or 8 a.m. That's 9 to 10 hours without amino acids. During that time, muscle protein breakdown exceeds synthesis. You're losing muscle while you sleep. This is muscle wasting you can prevent with one simple habit. Studies show that consuming 20 to 25 grams of slow-digesting protein before bed improves net overnight muscle protein balance. It's one of the easiest interventions with the biggest impact. Cottage cheese is ideal because of casein content, but Greek yogurt works too. Just eat it 30 to 60 minutes before bed, so you're not lying down immediately after eating. That's literally the entire strategy. I know what you're thinking. This sounds expensive, but here's the reality. Canned tuna, eggs, cottage cheese, dried lentils are some of the most affordable proteins available. A carton of eggs is $3. A can of sardines is $2. We're not talking grass-fed, organic ribeyes. You've got the foods and timing down. There's one supplement that outperforms everything else, and it's not what most people think. Let's talk supplementation, because there's a lot of nonsense in this space. Most supplements for muscle health are either weak, unproven, or outright scams. The supplement industry makes billions selling hope in bottles with minimal evidence. But there's one that consistently shows up in research as incredibly effective: creatine monohydrate. If you're only going to take one supplement for muscle health, this is it. Creatine is a compound your body makes naturally, also found in meat and fish. It helps your muscles produce energy during high-intensity activities. When you supplement, you increase creatine stores in your muscles, which enhances capacity for strength training and improves recovery. But here's what matters for seniors. Recent meta-analyses show creatine monohydrate, when combined with resistance training, produces the most pronounced improvements in muscle mass and strength compared to protein supplementation alone or HMB, which showed no significant effect. For seniors fighting sarcopenia, an extra 2 kilograms of muscle mass is massive. That could be the difference between needing assistance to stand and standing independently. Creatine dosing is straightforward. You can do a loading phase, 20 grams per day, split into 4 doses for 5 to 7 days, followed by maintenance of 3 to 5 grams daily. Both work. Loading just gets you to saturation faster. Mix it with water, juice, or protein shake. Timing doesn't matter much. Consistency matters more. And yes, creatine is safe. Decades of research confirm it's one of the safest supplements available, even for older adults. It's been shown to benefit sarcopenia, osteoporosis, and frailty. The old myths about kidney damage? Debunked. Unless you have pre-existing kidney disease, creatine won't harm your kidneys. While we're on supplements, there's one vitamin deficiency that's killing your muscle building efforts: vitamin D. Many older adults are vitamin D deficient, especially those with limited sun exposure or darker skin pigmentation. Melanin reduces vitamin D synthesis. Without adequate vitamin D, muscle protein synthesis is compromised. You could be eating perfect protein and still not building muscle optimally. The PROVIDE study showed that combining vitamin D with leucine-enriched whey protein significantly improves muscle mass and lower extremity function in sarcopenic older adults. Vitamin D isn't optional. It's essential for muscle function. If you're not getting adequate sun exposure, and most people over 60 aren't, supplement with vitamin D3. Typical doses range from 1,000 to 2,000 IUs per day, but your doctor can test your blood levels and recommend appropriate dosing. Fortified milk, fortified soy milk, and fatty fish like salmon are also good dietary sources. What about HMB? Save your money. Mixed research at best. Recent meta-analysis found no statistically significant effect on muscle mass or strength. Stick with creatine and high-quality protein. Those have the strongest evidence. People always ask me, but what about collagen for my joints? Let me address that now. Look, I get it. You've heard collagen is good for joints, skin, and connective tissue. And that's true. Collagen is the main structural protein in your body, essential for cartilage, tendons, ligaments, and skin. But here's what the supplement companies won't tell you. You don't need to eat collagen to make collagen. Your body synthesizes it from amino acids, and those amino acids come from the high-quality proteins you're already eating. Beef naturally contains glycine and proline, two amino acids abundant in collagen. Eggs provide proline and glycine. Fish supplies all the building blocks you need. When you eat these foods, your body gets the raw materials it needs to synthesize collagen internally. But here's the critical piece most people miss. For your body to actually make collagen, you need cofactors, specifically vitamin C, zinc, and copper. Vitamin C is essential for the hydroxylase enzyme your body uses to build collagen. Without adequate vitamin C, collagen synthesis doesn't happen efficiently. Zinc and copper are required for the cross-linking that gives collagen its structural strength. The smart approach for joint and connective tissue health isn't taking collagen peptides. It's eating high-quality, complete proteins and ensuring adequate intake of vitamin C, zinc, and copper. Vitamin C, citrus fruits, bell peppers, strawberries, broccoli, Brussels sprouts. Easy to get if you're eating vegetables and fruits. Zinc, red meat, shellfish, legumes, seeds, nuts. If you're eating beef and beans regularly, you're covered. Copper, shellfish, nuts, seeds, whole grains. Most people get enough copper from varied diet. This approach gives you both muscle-building leucine and tryptophan that collagen lacks, plus the connective tissue amino acids and cofactors you need. It's superior to supplementing with incomplete collagen. Does this mean you should never take collagen? Not necessarily. If you like how it makes your skin feel, or you find it helps joint comfort, and you're also eating high-quality protein for muscle, fine. But don't prioritize collagen supplements over protein quality. That's backwards. Some longevity researchers would tell you I'm recommending too much protein. Let me address that tension directly. Some longevity researchers like Walter Longo recommend keeping protein intake relatively low, around 0.8 grams per kilogram, to potentially optimize cellular mechanisms like autophagy associated with lifespan extension. There's also evidence from blue zones that people who live longest eat moderate protein with heavy plant emphasis and limited meat consumption. So which is it? High protein for muscle or moderate protein for longevity? This contradiction frustrates the hell out of people trying to do the right thing. For most seniors, especially those fighting frailty or sarcopenia, the immediate threat to health span and independence is muscle loss, not excess protein. If you're 80 years old, struggling to get out of a chair, optimizing cellular autophagy is a luxury concern. Your priority should be maintaining functional capacity so you can live independently. That said, the two goals aren't necessarily in conflict. Blue zone populations maintain muscle while eating moderate protein because they achieve complete protein status through amino acid pairing, stay physically active throughout life, and eat whole foods. Even Walter Longo acknowledges protein needs increase with age. He recommends bumping it up to around 1.0 to 1.1 grams per kilogram after 65, recognizing anabolic resistance changes the calculation. If longevity is your concern, here's the balanced approach. Hit 1.2 to 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram daily, emphasizing fish, legumes, and dairy over red meat. Eat red meat 2 to 3 times per week max, not daily. Prioritize whole foods over processed proteins. Include plenty of plants, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, nuts, seeds. Engage in regular resistance training because the longevity benefit of muscle mass is well established. This satisfies both muscle maintenance requirements and longevity principles. You're not eating like a bodybuilder, but you're not under-eating protein either. The key is recognizing protein requirements are context dependent. If you're 70, healthy, and active, maybe 1.2 grams per kilogram with plant-forward diet is perfect. If you're 80, frail, and recovering from illness, you might need 1.8 grams per kilogram temporarily to prevent further loss. Listen to your body and adjust accordingly. You've got the knowledge. Let me show you how to actually implement this in daily life without losing your mind. You can know everything about protein quality, DIAS scores, and leucine thresholds, but if you can't turn that knowledge into actual meals you'll eat consistently, it's worthless. Most people fail not because they don't understand, they fail because they don't have practical strategies for dealing with real-world obstacles like reduced appetite, limited cooking ability, or tight budgets. Two obstacles stop most seniors from hitting protein targets: reduced appetite appetite, and budget concerns. If eating feels like a chore, prioritize calorie-dense and protein-dense foods. Full-fat Greek yogurt with nuts and honey, peanut butter on whole-grain bread, protein shakes with added peanut butter, banana and oats, cottage cheese with fruit, smoothies with whey protein, berries, spinach, and almond butter. These pack maximum nutrition into smaller volumes. You're not forcing yourself to chew through large meals. On a budget, eggs cost $3 per dozen. Canned sardines run $2 per can. Dried lentils are $2 per pound. Cottage cheese is $3 for 16 ounces. Peanut butter is $4 for a large jar. Frozen chicken thighs or ground turkey are often cheaper than fresh and still deliver high-quality protein. You don't need expensive supplements or exotic foods. Basic, affordable whole foods get the job done. If you face chewing difficulties, focus on soft proteins, scrambled eggs, whipped cottage cheese, pureed lentil or bean soups, mashed chickpeas as hummus, protein-enriched oatmeal with added protein powder or nut butter, ground meat cooked soft, flaky fish like salmon or tilapia, quick, high-protein meals that actually work. Breakfast, 3 scrambled eggs, 1 slice whole grain toast with peanut butter, glass of fortified soy milk. Total, approximately 30 grams protein. Lunch, a can of tuna mixed with quarter-cup cottage cheese, 1 hard-boiled egg on leafy greens or whole grain crackers. Total, approximately 35 grams of protein. Dinner, 4 ounces grilled salmon, 1 cup cooked lentils, roasted vegetables. Total, approximately 30 grams protein. Pre-bed snack, half cup of cottage cheese with berries. Total, approximately 15 grams protein. Total daily, approximately 110 grams protein for a 70 kilogram individual, hitting 1.6 grams per kilogram. This one's so simple it almost feels silly, but it compounds into massive results. Every night, 30 minutes before bed, eat half a cup of full-fat cottage cheese. Mix in some berries or drizzle of honey if you want better taste. That's it. You've turned your sleep into an anabolic recovery period instead of a muscle-wasting fast. Over weeks and months, this small habit compounds into significant muscle preservation. Let me put this entire approach into perspective for you. Let's be real about what we're actually talking about here. Muscle mass after 60 isn't about vanity. It's not about looking good at the beach. It's about whether you can get out of a chair without using your arms, whether you can carry your own groceries, whether you can play with your grandkids, whether you stay in your own home or end up in assisted living. Muscle is your survival currency for maintaining independence. Every kilogram of muscle you preserve is insurance against falls, fractures, hospitalization, and loss of autonomy. The data is clear. Seniors with higher muscle mass have lower mortality rates, fewer falls, better metabolic health, and maintain independence longer. Muscle isn't optional, it's essential. And here's the truth nobody wants to hear. You can't out-supplement, out-biohack, or out-think poor protein intake. You can't drink bone broth and expect miracles. You can't take collagen pills and rebuild muscle. The foundation is high-quality protein, distributed properly, consumed consistently. Everything else, creatine, vitamin D, resistance training, amplifies that foundation. But without the foundation, you're building on sand. Pick one thing from this script. Switch to eggs and peanut butter for breakfast to hit 25 grams protein. Add cottage cheese before bed. Replace bone broth with actual muscle-building protein. Start taking creatine monohydrate. Do that one thing consistently for 2 weeks. Then add another. Then another. Small, consistent changes compound into transformational results over months. You don't need perfection. You need consistency with the fundamentals. Protein quality beats quantity every time. Bone broth scores 0 for muscle building. It lacks tryptophan and leucine. The real champions are whey, casein, eggs, fish, beef, and strategic plant proteins. Hit 1.2 to 1.5 grams per kilogram kilogram daily. Distribute across meals. Add cottage cheese before bed. Include creatine if you're training. That's the formula. But remember what this is really about. Every kilogram of muscle you preserve is insurance against falls, hospitalization, and loss of independence. This isn't about vanity. It's about carrying your own groceries, playing with your grandkids, and staying in your own home. Start with one change today. Swap bone broth for real protein. Add cottage cheese before bed. Begin taking creatine. Pick one thing, do it consistently, then add another. If this clicked for you, I've put together something special. It's called the Sarcopenia Survival Cookbook. 107 high-protein recipes built specifically for rebuilding muscle after 60. It's not just a recipe book. It gives you done-for-you grocery lists, meal timing breakdowns, and easy collagen-rich recipes that hit the muscle recovery sweet spot, even if you've never cooked before. Plus, I added 7 bonuses, things like the Senior Strength Smoothie Collection and Muscle Supplement Guide for 65 plus, so you know exactly what to eat, when, and why. No fluff, just what works. You can grab it below, but only if you actually plan to use it.